Let me ask one simple question. Do I appeal as the sort of person that would support, that would guide, that would inspire May Geminis to find their voice? Do not even get me started with Miles. One thing is too many, as I know that they would be thorough. But that's the exact opposite, as I know that our musical that we were doing just last February, and I just can't get over it because we were practicing it, we were singing it, knowing the music 100%. Practicing it makes perfect, as we all know. I knew it downright well. It was really, really catchy, and I was sick and tired of it. Do not over-practice music when you're rehearsing for a concert. Do it enough where you know it, but don't have it be when you practice it so many times that by the concert you just feel like, oh, another time, so boring. Maybe try to break it up. Maybe go to a choir group once a week and then keep going a lot of weeks, so that there's a little bit of a break, so that when you do the concert it feels special and you're not tired of it. That it feels expressing, exciting, interesting. It's fun and it's a joy to sing. I think that the moon is in Virgo because very, very detail oriented, wanting to get everything so critically just right. And I find that how I'm kind of speaking a little bit. I hear how certain people speak, and I copy them. That's just natural. I know who I've copied. I've copied him. I've copied my 7th grade's special ed teacher. I've copied my 10th grade social studies teacher. I've copied my elementary school teachers and my associate, Mrs. Shouts, and probably my other one, Marcy. So anyway, back to this story. I'll talk all about that later. Back to this story about Hamilton. That's what we were doing. It was a medley that we were doing, because we were doing Broadway show tunes for a February Follies concert. We were doing Hamilton. That's very Gemini. That is so Gemini. That is so incredibly Gemini. Speaking, singing, writing, reading, thinking. It's all Gemini things. So, very, very expressive. It's a very, very long piece. There's a lot of singing to it, a lot of expressing, a lot of words used. And Miles is a Gemini. Spelled M-Y-L-E-S. A May Gemini, I should add. I think it's so important that we stress the dominant months of a sign. The indominant months of a sign are the sign, all the months with only, say, 11, 10, 9 days. So from May 20th to May 31st, Gemini, and June 1st through June 20th, Gemini. Which month has more days of Gemini season? June. That's called a dominant month. The other is the indominant month. And he is born on the indominant month of Gemini, a May Gemini. And it's so critical that we especially help May Geminis to find their voice. as one of the face pictures when I look at Idina Menzel is the piano bench that we're fixing up. And you should hear the theme song that I've come up with. It's based off a wild and a gorgeously and vividly illustrated portrait. And I'll play it for you sometime. It is spectacular. You're gonna love it. But I find that there was a lot of Gemini. There's part of him that's very, very grounded. But there was that kind of mischievous part of him as well. Born on May 28th. May 28th. God dang. And let's see, Helena Bonham Carter was born 2 days before. 2 days before that, the one and only, was Silverman. But it's so interesting for me that as a professional astrologer and also a psychotherapist, but mainly an astrologer, focusing an entire career making videos, writing a book on, knowing Gemini, that sign, very, 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 very well, professional, knowing at a very deep and involved level, I want to say, very critical and a lot of, very knowledgeable on it. You think that she would be born on June 12th. That's May 24th, 24 and a half is June 12th. Simple math. So no, June 12th. June 12th. June 12th. If I hear May 24th said again by you-know-who, nope. June 12th. June 12th. That's the birthday. Yep, I stress dominant months. So anyway, you all know Gemini. You can go study it. Fun, playful, energetic, social, loving to do the following, the interests, writing, reading, speaking, singing, talking. All over the place, fickle, spontaneous, wild child, wondrous curiosity, always needs constant stimulation. Represented by the twins. Again, the split personality, and I think if you know him, I think that you can see a little bit of split personality. I wonder if the May Geminis are more social and express the full character of the twins and all the characteristics and traits and the qualities and expressions of Gemini more than the June Geminis. It should be the other way around. May should all be a cusping time. But anyway, I ranted on enough about that. So, back to what I was saying. Here's the complaint. We were learning, well, I have more than one complaint. Okay, so we started it right when we got back from Christmas and New Year's Eve. That day, we didn't have long to practice for, only a whole month, and a good chunk of February, which the concert was the 27th. And that year was the leap year, so the 29th. No. It was the 25th. The 29th was, it had the leap year date that year. I'm not saying that was the day that the concert was. I made that clear. So, from the very first, I thought that we would not get into whole new music and whole new content that, because we were just coming back from Christmas and New Year's. Surely you would give time to kind of, as a little break for a couple of days, and do a couple small things and slowly ease into it. Stuff, getting right into it, new music, new everything. But the opposite of that is if I'm so enthusiastic about a particular subject or class, I want to get into it almost right away. But if I'm not enthusiastic, and if I don't have the interest, the curiosity, the fun, and probably the joy, the positive mindset for another class, they need to space it out a little bit more. Maybe a lot of time for the open-mindedness, open-heartedness. Well, but anyway, so, yeah, that was the very first thing. We just got into it. Oh, here was the second thing. Here was the second thing that I bought. There's another one that is more general. Okay, well, the second thing is that it was cut. The musical Hamilton was cut. So much of it was cut. It was so... It was reasonably short. Because so much of it was cut. When you're practicing something over and over and over and over and over and over again, it needs to be long. Because otherwise, it's easier to get bored by it. If there's a lot more, or a little bit more, there's more to work on, more to practice. So if you think about it, that makes it less boring, less tedious. So, and repetitive, should I say. So anyway, let's see here. Okay. So, Hamilton. A lot of it was cut. That's the complaint. A lot of things from the musical was cut. And they give the little highlight snippets. Give more. If you're going to appear on stage and take the time, the energy, and the effort to put on a musical show tune from Broadway performance, take advantage. I would go almost the full. There was I'm wondering about the reasonings why so much was cut out. Is because so much was inappropriate. What would it hurt to learn a little bit more? To add in a little bit more? And so, if we did that, then I'd probably like it, enjoy it, and have the interest in it. And it'd be less boring, less repetitive. Even more. But you're taking advantage of the opportunity. But you're not doing enough. You're not learning. You're not singing enough. For example, in that song, what was it called? I can't remember. What was it? Schuyler Sisters. Things we got from that. I would have liked to, in the song, heard a little bit more of the musical. A little bit more of the story. A little bit more of the messages from it. The themes from it. The emotions from it. The resonations. The empathizers. The understandings of it. And the expressing of it. And that leads me to the big enchilada, which was that we were learning all of this music, all of this time, all of this practice, day in, day after day after day after day, doing it, and then keep doing it, keep doing it. Boring. But you know what? Maybe I would enjoy it more. I would find more interest in it. I would find it more fun. I would be able to feel the story. I would be able to express it and empathize with it and understand it and be less bored by it if there was a little bit more meat in the meal. Instead of just the potatoes, you've added in the meat. Instead of just the little, I don't know, lunch leftovers, you added in the full throttle. I don't know. These things are so hard to come by. But so anyway, all we did is we just sang the song. We just learned the rhythms, the diction, the melodies, and all of the other terminology. And we learned choreography with it, which I thought was pretty nice. But that's all we did. And the only gateway to understanding, feeling, expressing, empathizing with the story was just through the lyrics itself. Dancing's another. Well, okay, I don't want to get to that. This is a whole nother can of worms. I don't want to compare apples to oranges, so I'm not going to go there for today. I'm not going to take that route. So, I just used two expressions in one. Okay, so where were we? So, he, with all the days, with all the times that we learned the song, that we sang the lyrics, did the choreography, that's all we did. He missed an opportunity. Did he stumble upon it? Did he forget about it? Did he not care about it? I don't know. Did he trust that the lyrics would tell the story and understand the messages and themes of it? I don't know. Is he not a very literature-oriented person? I don't know. I have no clue. Why I didn't hear a single word about him actually telling the choir about the song, about the story, about the themes, about the messages of it, about the emotion, of the expression of it. He did not get into that. He did not sit down and talk about it in a professional, serious, make sense, connecting, resonating, and clear, interesting, effort-like way, I want to say. He left that out. I'm not expecting him to go too in-depth. I had to tell him to do that. And then I felt guilty about it when he decided to do it. I'll talk about that here in just a second. But why am I doing the choreography, singing the songs, if I don't know what I'm singing? What kind of a choir teacher is that? Because singing, song lyrics, and, the actual singing and music and lyrics were from literature. Song lyrics are poetry. And there was an emotion, and there was a story, there was a theme, and maybe more, behind poetry. And singing, expressing emotionally and through a story when he was singing, and music as well. music make us feel, interpretation, yada yada. And if had he been a better choir teacher, really understanding the music better, and really taking it seriously, he would have sat down and told us about the story, the themes, and the messages of the song, talked to you about the song. Instead, it's like on my birthday, me recommending, demanding, and pushing him. I had pushing him, asking him to do that. I felt like I was doing that for a present that I wanted for, say, my half birthday. You know what he did? Instead of taking the effort, the energy, the care, the consideration, the seriousness, and the time to buy me a present, he'd forgotten all about it. And then I reminded him one day on a Wednesday. You know what he did? He took a rock and he drew a little smiley face on it and he handed it to me as a present for my half birthday. Someone's not really caring. Someone's not really nice. He doesn't think of others. That's not what he was doing. If I had to grade him, I would give him a 90%. That sounds pretty fair, pretty adamant. Did everything perfectly, except the music could have been a little bit longer, more in depth. And he didn't tell what the song was about. And you know what he did to take the rock and do a smiley face? You know what he did? You're gonna find this unbelievable. What he did. And I was offended. I was a little bit offended, a lot offended, if I had to say so. I reminded him once, and then I told him twice. Well, no, at the very beginning of class, I reminded him. Because I kept reminding him over and over again to do that. Think, yes, I'll get to. I can't trust you. Deja vu. Same with the relationship. The same scenario happening with another man. I was at ICC and I wanted this chaperone to send me the picture and the ingredients and the steps for a recipe of sesame chicken. I think that it was. And I would have it in my envelope, because I had an envelope that I would keep looking at day by day. And I kept reminding him, and he kept forgetting. I kept checking, and I was so disappointed. Keep forgetting. Come on. Write it down. Write it down somewhere. Whatever it is you need to do to remember to say or do it. So you know what he did? He took the initiative, and he had it in mind, and he remembered before going into doing the song once again with the music, with the choreography, and then leaving it by the wayside even more, forgetting to even mention just a little bit of it. I probably had to remind him twice to do it, and I was losing my patience because I remind him over and over again, day by day, not every day, but I don't know. So, I am offended the way that my name was phrased. My name with a T so pronounced in diction. I was asked by a Mr. Everett to talk about the story of the song, to talk about I can't remember what exactly it said, but it was something like that. To talk about the song, talk about the themes, the messages, the story of the song. I don't know. But pay attention to the way that he said, I was asked by a Mr. my first name. It was so rude. It was like I was an elegant, demanding, bossy, getting on someone, pushy queen. That I was a vain, selfish diva or something. That is not who I am. I certainly do not want to be seen and mentioned like anything along those lines. Pronouncing my name like I was some elegant, fancy, like headed the class I didn't want to deal with anymore, that I was annoying estudiante, that it was pressuring and pushing and demanding, and I kept bothering. I haven't bothered too much about it. So I was offended. So, it's like, I was driven mad by me asking him, me pushing him to do that. I was asked by a Mr. Everett. Listen to how he said that. So fake and phony and not realistic and not me. Just say it normally. Just say it casual, normal. Be yourself. Talk yourself. Talk like me. Not like someone else. Not like Hyacinth Bouquet, for goodness sakes. Say it normally. That was in my heydays when I was pretending to be a little bit gross, and I pretended to be someone else, a made-up person, a made-up character. Thanks to Ashima, I think being yourself is a good thing. It's the best thing. You can't be anyone else except yourself. Yes, you can. You can put on disguises, change your looks, change your voice, but ultimately, underneath all that, underneath all of the makeup, all of the cover-up, all the pretending, all the changing, is yourself. So, that was very unfiltered. That was very condescending, conniving, rude, assuming, lying, just mean and wrong to say. To say that in the tone, in the manner that he said that. It was rude. Very rude. And you know the next thing that he did? You never would believe this. He had the idiocy, the dumb-mindedness, the audacity, the stupidity. He had the mischief and the silliness, foolishness, and the rudeness and the unseriousness and the unconsideration and the uncare of cutting the corners. Taking the easy way out, not even putting care and seriousness and focus in forget that I said that, an effort of talking about it. It was like he read Spark Notes instead of reading the full book. It was like he went to the store and got one of those already made meals and put it in the microwave instead of listening to Moine Esposito say, make it yourself. It's a lot fresher, it's a lot healthier. It's better. It's like he had canned soup in a jar and he didn't make it on his own. Lemons in a jar, olives in a jar. He went on his computer and he typed in Hamilton, the story of Hamilton, on, I think, Spark Notes, I don't know. And all he did was he just very, very quickly, I could not understand what he was saying, what he was reading. Well, okay, first of all, he just went on and just read the synopsis of the story. That's all he did. He didn't talk about the story at all. He didn't tie it into the, connecting to the group. Expressions, themes, messages, resonations, those types of things. All he did was he read the story, trying to put on a, saying, I'll read this as dramatic as I can, dramatic voice, and everyone was just sitting around, and he was just reading and, trying to entertain, just reading the story online with the dramatic voice. That's all he was doing. I was completely underwhelmed. And I feel like that I had to put the most attention. I feel like that I had to really pay attention, really keep up with the story and hear what he was reading. I could understand him because he was going so quickly for a start. Reading it so quickly, I couldn't keep up with it. That's all he was doing. Apparently, that's the first time that he ever really did that. That he ever really talked about the song and the messages and the themes and the emotion behind the song. And that's really what I wanted. Go up above and beyond and dissect the stanzas and dissect the lines and the words of the story. Talk about each song, the story of it, what it means, the lessons, the morals, all those types of things. But all I did was he just sat there and he read the story. He just sat on his computer and just read it. Just sat there and read it. Save your breath. Stop wasting it. I feel like that I was wasting his time and he was wasting his time. That he had things better to do, that there was no meaning behind it, that there was no feeling and conviction and belief and seriousness behind what he was doing. And it was just getting in the way of more practice on the song. Immediately